There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up and welcome into episode number 46 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, no Matt Ganner, Patrick Hertzberger this week. Today is Wednesday, November 23rd. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, on Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, follow, on our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, that's where you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever it is. And let us here at the Program Guys Podcast be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. You and yours. Mark, Ryan, how we doing, brothers?
We're good, man. It's kind of weird it just being the three of us.
I know. It feels empty in this box, in this virtual box we have.
in this virtual box that we call life.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. We were all in Norman this past weekend for the Bedlam game. And let me tell you, I still feel Friday night. Like I still feel.
I felt terrible on Sunday, guys.
Yeah.
I got home and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
Had some Ray's barbecue on Sunday though, and it kind of brought me back to life. They're not sponsors of the pod, by the way, but shout out to Ray's Barbecue in Norman. You guys rock. If you listen to this, Ray, we love you. We love you since college. You're the man. I love that barbecue.
And we would love to be sponsored. So
we would. We would. Like, even if it's like just you send us some pulled pork sometimes. That'd be lit. Like, whatever it is.
I've done more for less.
Dude, facts. Mark, how you doing?
You know, I'm good, man. We shared a wonderful weekend together. We have a short week this week ahead of a holiday that's rapidly rising up my ranks. Just the more that I get older, the more I appreciate eating a lot of food and laying down. So
and football.
And football. Oh my gosh.
Sick.
And football all day. Mm-hmm. And incredible deals the next day. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's November, December is great.
Yeah.
Top tier duo month. That's for sure.
And then you can start
Q4?
putting up your Christmas tree and stuff after Thanksgiving. I'm guessing you guys have already done that.
No, dude, I've been told that on Wednesday afternoon, my job is to put up Christmas lights so we can turn them on on Thursday or on Friday morning.
Friday morning. Yeah. We are decorating apparently tomorrow, I have been told. I was like, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Nah, man.
And then I got sent an Instagram link that says it's a study done by Forbes. And it's like, you want to put up your Christmas tree early? Science says it makes you happier. I was like, why am I getting these links?
That's fair.
The barrier to entry to write on Forbes is not as high as it used to be.
I know.
I guess that's fair.
I don't even know if it was Forbes. So apologies. I'll be finding the actual source of that later.
Well,
yeah,
regardless,
anyway, our tree's been up for a couple days.
That's fine.
It's
fine.
My big thing is we all might know, I have a mid-November birthday. And so it's like, that tree can't be up before my birthday. I need to be celebrated before the Christmas can be celebrated.
I can support that. That. Yeah, I get that. Like we said, happy Thanksgiving. Let's get into some football. The Oklahoma Sooners 1-0 last week, trying to go 1-0 again this week. They have the Texas
week.
Best way to look at it.
Yeah, they have the Texas Tech Red Raiders going to Lubbock. They will play that game on Saturday night. But first, we have some team news that we should probably mention, and that is Daniel Parker is indefinitely suspended from the OU football team for do I call it a criminal matter? I don't know the correct way to phrase it.
I'm looking at the story on the Oklahoman right now, and they call it an alleged incident.
So
that's the safest thing to do.
Brent Venables had his media availability today, and he provided no update on Daniel Parker's situation. So he is still suspended indefinitely. He was suspended indefinitely on Monday. Tuesday, Brent came to his press conference, provided no update, said he's still indefinitely suspended. So they're probably just going to wait on all that stuff to play out. Mm-hmm. It's not a good look. Definitely not a good one.
For anyone who hasn't heard, the allegation is that he struck his 21-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
So there was something that struck me listening to Brent's press conference today is someone asked about his first impression of CJ Colden when seeing if he would come through the transfer portal. And I wish that such a question was asked about Daniel Parker, because doing a little bit of research online, you see plenty of like message board genius things that say, some of this was known. I just would wonder how much was known, how much was seen. He did not play in Bedlam.
He did.
So I think the moment that the team caught word of it, I'd like to think the moment that the team caught word of it, they said, you're gone, you're out. But bad look to have that on your team.
Yeah, this alleged incident took place, according to the report, the Sunday after the West Virginia loss. So the afternoon after the West Virginia loss. So that's when it happened. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of all we can provide an update for. We're not going to come out here and say a bunch of stuff when we don't have all the details, but I mean, you can say what happened and say that it's a bad alleged incident for sure.
Yeah, and the defendant filed a protective order. So while it's still alleged, they filed a protective order. The hearing was set, I believe, for today, or I guess if this is dropping Wednesday, on Tuesday.
Yep. Okay. Let's just move on from there as best as we can. Some recruiting news. A great recruiting weekend last weekend for OU to welcome in all those recruits to Bedlam. As many as 7 5-stars in attendance in the 2023 and 2024 class. The biggest of those names obviously are going to be David Hicks, Peyton Bowen. David Hicks hasn't really. I saw somebody posted a story, but I didn't read it about David's weekend. If you're subscribed to Rivals, then I'm sure you can read it, but I didn't get the chance to. But Peyton Bowen has a crystal ball from Josh McCuistion and Nick Harris to flip to Oklahoma.
And that's something we had been hearing, that had been discussed, but that I don't think there had been any prior actual predictions, right? Crystal balls, things on the record about him flipping to OU. A&M was also in the running for him as sort of the third team that he might end up there. And it's got to help that their stands were so empty at the same day that we played such a great defensive game against our rival in a great atmosphere. That's got to be good for us. And I mean, it was great for us with some other guys. So I have to think everyone was vibing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the big thing for me here is like most everybody, while we know the game wasn't perfect, obviously on the offensive side, most of the coaches came out and was like, the environment was amazing. And like, that's exactly what you want when you have these big recruiting weekends, is you want them to feel like they like want to be here. And there's no better way to do that than to have the environment in the student section going, which they were with those little glow stick thingies that they had. So it felt the energy was there. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this kind of domino effect after this weekend.
Yeah. So the crystal balls after the Bedlam game, 2023 3-star cornerback Kendall Dolby from where, Mark? Oh, I wanted to see if you would pronounce it correct. Sorry.
Hold on. Let me try it. Let me try it. It's okay.
It's right here. You got this.
You got
it. Give it to me next, Mason.
Yeah, I will.
Miami?
Nope. Ryan?
Okay.
Miami,
Oklahoma.
That's dumb.
Spelled like Miami.
Sorry,
But
we
it's
have
like-
any
that's
fans
some like
from Miami.
that's some like grade school education in
know.
Oklahoma. They're all like, "Hey, this isn't Miami. Miami's in
Yeah.
Florida. It's Miami."
Miami.
Truthfully, when I was typing it, I was like, "That. Hold on, did I type that wrong?" It was like a triple take.
Yeah. So I asked because Ryan was from Oklahoma, so I wanted to ask Mark, being not from there. So Kendall Dolby from Miami, he is a crystal ball, and 2024 4-star defensive lineman Nigel Smith from Melissa, Texas, home to my favorite Buckies, and then 2023 defensive back Peyton Bowen from Denton Geyer were the crystal balls out of that weekend. And some other commits were Ashton Sanders. He committed, and he will be enrolling early. He also announced today on his own Twitter that he's going to be playing in the Army All-American game next month. So good for Ashton Sanders, as well as Taylor Wine. Wine.
I'm going with
we're talking about it. You're going with Ween?
Going with Ween.
Anything stick out to you guys? By the way, Ashton Sanders is a 3-star defensive tackle, 6'2", 300 pounds. He's from LA. So some good size that Brent is going to need on the inside.
I like the both of these guys 3 stars. I know that Ween, whatever percent Ween, if that's what we're going with, was kind of being like, he was kind of growing a lot recently. A lot of people have been like watching him, looking at him. I love the fact that they are in like states that we don't usually go for, like they Ween's in Tennessee, which SEC country. I love that. And then you have Ashton Sanders over in LA, which prior to like our previous coach, we didn't recruit a ton in the LA area. So it's good to see that we still have some reach there, and that we're targeting different areas of the country, and we're able to pull in people.
Mark, you had a good point on Ween, I think, as a replacement for a big name guy.
Yeah, so it's interesting looking at just the size and length of Taylor Ween against Colton Vasek. Vasek 6'5", 225, Ween 6'5", 235. Got to think that they're looking to fill a similar spot in the recruiting class with this guy. As Ryan just said, he's been rising up the ranks. He's gotten plenty of offers. It's fun to go look at sort of the timeline of these things because you can see them sort of cascading. November 9th, Virginia Tech. November 9th, us. November 9th, USC. November 10th, Ole Miss. November 13th, Kentucky. November 16th, Oklahoma State. Like real teams that we're in the running for late in the game to get this guy on board. I think there have been a couple of crystal balls for Taylor Ween in the last week or two, but it's always good to see those sort of come to fruition. On Ashton Sanders, just real fast, Todd Bates recruited him. Todd Bates will be coaching him. I trust that.
Yeah,
I search Mark Hall program guys, Todd Bates, if you have any doubts about my trust there.
Yeah, Brent in his press conference today mentioned how happy he was with Miguel Chavis and how he trusts Miguel to develop the defensive ends that are there now and what they're going to be a year from now. He goes, I know that Miguel's the guy to get the job done. So he can only be happy with how he's recruiting and the guys that he's bringing in terms of the size, speed, athleticism. They're looking for intangibles first, and they're probably thinking we could teach you how to play football, but you got to be a certain kind of freak athlete if you're going to be on this field. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Miguel Chavis kind of molds in that defensive end room. It's going to be fun to see.
To that point specifically, Nigel Smith in the class of 2024, all of the insiders have pointed him out as a big target for this group or for this coaching staff. To see him get double balled, that's how I'm going to say that, by 2 of those guys this weekend. And he's got offers all over the country, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bama, Georgia, USC, everyone's offered him. That's someone at 6'5", 260 that you want to get in the building and keep as long as you can, because that's an athlete that you want your guys to be able to mold.
Love it. Ryan, anything else on the recruiting front?
Nope. I think I mostly I say nope and then I have something to say, which is very typical of me.
That's fine. Self-awareness is the first step to solving any problem.
Yeah. I think, when like Vasek went like and went over to Texas, I think a lot of us were just like really kind of down in the dumps. It was like right around the West Virginia loss. And we came back in, we let BV do his thing, we got people to Bedlam. We won that game, maybe not in pretty fashion, but we won that game. The environment was great, and we're seeing kind of the return from it, right? And I think this is very, very positive for this team and for this culture, not just next year with 2023. I mean, Peyton Bowen would be massive, but like even next year, like in 2024 and 2025, and we have to keep creating these moments that make these recruits want to come here. And we saw one of those on Saturday.
Great point, Ryan. Let's move on to the game itself. Oklahoma at Texas Tech. Oklahoma is a 2-point favorite at Texas Tech. Game is a 6:30 kick. I hate that it's a night game in Lubbock. Bad things only happen.
Bad vibes.
At night in Lubbock. It's a crazy place. When I went there in college and covered that OU game there with Baker at quarterback, it was insane. And man, I'm just not looking forward to seeing what this team has to do to win a game in Lubbock.
I went with a buddy to that game, and while I was not allowed to enter the stadium, he was. And I believe them because he had witnesses. Someone above them threw an unopened beer at the back of his head because he was the OU fan in the group of Tech students. So they get rowdy, man. And all day to get sauced up. They're going to be ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
So many things being thrown. Trash, tortillas, crazy, nasty things. Who knows?
Yeah.
They come prepared, especially for night games. This one scares me for sure.
So let's get an overall look at the OU offense against the Texas Tech defense. Texas Tech defense is allowing 391 yards a game. In terms of total defense in the Big 12, that is sixth in the Big 12. Sixth in the Big 12 in total defense. Texas Tech allows 27.8 points per game. That's good for seventh in the Big 12, right below OU at 6. So to me, really, this game is going to come down to, or this matchup, I should say, between the OU offense and the Texas Tech defense is the OU running game. Can it return to what we saw if those guys are gone? If Rame is out, if Wanye Morris is out. Sorry, if Wanye Morris is out, how do these linemen who are going to be subs? We saw they had trouble running the ball against Oklahoma State. Can you go out there and punch Texas Tech in the mouth? Because Texas Tech can put up points, and you're going to need to be on the field longer than you were against Oklahoma State. You're going to need to have to control some clock to give your defense a chance to survive. And while also scoring, you're going to need to score as well. But to do all of that, you have to run the ball, and you're going to have to lean on Eric Gray, and you're going to have to lean on Javante Barnes. I think we talked about it in the postgame pod. He had a very good day on a short amount of carries against Oklahoma State. I think you feed that momentum a little bit more, maybe get him into the double digits in carries, see what happens, especially with some fresh legs.
Yeah, I mean, to me, our offense, their defense, it's all coming down to, like, can we bounce back? And can we can our play calling, can Lebby, like, make up for what he did last week? And we didn't even mention how much, like, he had owned that, like, the past couple days, like, in all of his press conferences, saying that most of it was on him. And, he's got to show that, like, that's not a normal thing, that was a one-off. and we have to be able, like, we need all of our pieces, like, at least firing, like, at all. I'm not even going to say firing on all cylinders. Like, we need something. We cannot go 1 of 14 for third downs again. Not against this offense, not in Lubbock, not at night. Like, we cannot do those things. And if we do, we're going to lose this game. So, like, ultimately, our play calling has to be better. Our quarterback has to be better. Our offense has to be better. And this Texas Tech defense is not like a Baylor defense or an Iowa State defense. You know, it has like weaknesses to it, and we can take advantage of that. But we need to show up on the play calling at the beginning. So I think ultimately, like, I don't think there's one particular thing that I'm looking to see on the offense. I'm just looking to see, like, just play better, get some third downs, you know, hold the ball a little bit. I guess if my one thing, it would be like time of possession, kind of what you were mentioning, Mason.
Texas Tech allows 162 yards a game on the ground. OU tries to go for 217 on the ground a game. Something's got to give right there. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I was also going to point out their relative. I mean, like, on they're seventh according to the Big 12 football website in rushing defense. I think that there's a weakness there. I think that you ride that, and like I mentioned in the post game the other day, hit on your situational play calling, your 3rd and 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to face all of those, because even if you go fast, I don't hate going fast. I know that, you know, situationally you've got to slow down, like we should have done on offense last week. But if you've got a drive going, you don't have to go that fast. You just have to run the football or get tackled in bounds, right? The whole field is your oyster at that point. Let's find some pearls. And we don't find ourselves in a situation to be able to do that very often. We often go first down, you know, dumb pass play, I guess. Second down, you get 3 yards. Third down, you're 3rd and 7. Oh, what do we do? I don't know, because all we do is throw the ball deep. I would love to see Drake Stoops intermediate routes, Jalil Farouk, you know, very specialized targeted plays, even some of those jet sweeps, whatever, on those downs when you can't really trust any kind of run to always get it done. Make it easy for Dylan. Make it easy for Dylan on those money downs.
I mean, and something that will make it easy for Dylan is if receivers catch the ball when they're throwing the ball. Like, there's a lot of plays that were left out when Marvin had his spell and when Jaleel had his spell against OSU, dropping passes. A lot was left on the table. And yeah, we can give Dylan some harsh criticism because he deserves it at times, but you also need to take into account the 70 yards that might have been added to his totals and maybe a touchdown if those guys catch the balls when they're thrown to them. So hopefully they figure it out. I think the weather's supposed to be nice in Lubbock. Weather shouldn't really be a factor. Like, just catch, 45 degrees and partly cloudy. So, like,
It'd be beautiful.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Could we get some
dry air?
Some late in the game boots on the ground, guys?
Dude, man.
Dude, I can't do this again. Not in Lubbock. This is 2 weeks.
No, not in Lubbock.
No, not in Lubbock. Not in Lubbock.
That place will win.
I know. I wanted to look at how they were able to get after the quarterback. I'm trying to look. Okay, sacks by there. That's what I wanted to see. Texas Tech, second in the Big 12. They have 26 sacks in 11 games. So they're able to get some pressure. They can get to the quarterback. It's gonna be important to see what this offensive line looks like. I didn't listen to the entirety of Brent's availability today. I don't know if he offered an update on Wanye or on Andrew. Andrew suited up and warmed up for Oklahoma State, but he didn't obviously play. So I don't know.
Yeah, they usually keep these things close to the chest.
I know, because it's not the NFL. You don't have to bring out a injury report.
I believe Andrew Rame had surgery like today.
Do you? Okay. Well, so he'll be back.
Maybe. I don't know how long that takes. I
Hey,
don't know.
modern medicine is really good.
He did
guys.
say yes, surgery was a success, hoping for a quick recovery. Thank you all for the thoughts and prayers.
Okay,
Hey,
well, there you go.
hope for a quick recovery also, Andrew Rame. Get after it, man.
Yeah, get after it. So Andrew Rame won't be there.
In his stead, we're gonna have Robert Congle, and
He's got to learn how to snap the ball.
Well, yeah, that just got to get figured out, right? Because it completely messes up your timing, your ability to, really get into the rhythm of your offense. It's unfortunate because he's not like a bad football player, but that's a big deal if you were the first person touching the football on offense.
Yeah. Let's move on to the OU defense against the Texas Tech offense. My number one thing to watch. You did it last week. You have to get pressure on Texas Tech like you did against Oklahoma State. Texas Tech's offensive line is dog water. They're terrible. They allowed 38 sacks in 11 games. That's last in the Big 12 by 13. By 13 total sacks, they're last in the Big 12. You have to be able to get back there and get some sort of pressure so they don't just pick you apart through the air like you know that they want to do. You have to make him uncomfortable. Do whatever you got to do to make him uncomfortable.
I think also go ahead, Mark.
No, you.
Well, I think one of the interesting things, kind of to piggyback on what Mason was saying, like Texas Tech has 3 quarterbacks essentially that I have seen them use all 3 in like multiple games. So like they're not afraid to switch them around. And like, I hope that our defensive preparation is thinking about that and watching tape on all of them. I know a couple of them have been hurt like throughout the year, so they've been coming back kind of slowly. But I remember specifically watching the Texas Tech Baylor game and being like, "Oh my God, they're playing all 3 of these guys, right?" And each one of them had an interception. So like what Mason is saying is 100% true. Get pressure on them. They did so well against Oklahoma State and Spencer Sanders on this, and they need to recreate that again.
Yeah, execution on that zone blitz. I think I pointed it out last week, and it's key. That's how Brent wants to get pressure from his guys is, hey, I'm going to send from the second level, but we're not just manning up. We're going to have a guy drop. We're going to figure it out on the back end. Last week, the guys figured it out on the back end for long enough to disrupt the pocket. That's all it takes, right? Is recognizing the passes as they come in front of you and being in the right place at the right time. We saw a lot of success collapsing the pocket last week, and I think it is imperative that even if you don't get to, whichever quarterback their Red Raider Rash Roulette spits out, whichever one it is, even if you don't get there, you got to make him uncomfortable because, man, all of a sudden Woody's in the backfield and Billy Bowman's in the backfield, and you got a couple of guys that can actually make plays if you give them some help.
They're the best passing offense in the Big 12, but they've thrown 16 picks this year. That's the most in the conference. So the pressure can lead to errant throws, can lead to the picks like we saw last week. CJ Colden, Woody Washington, those Billy Bowman, those guys being ball hawks like we saw them be last week. Let's do it again. Why not? It could be more of the same. Honestly, it really could.
Thing with that too is just, we are last in time of possession by a mile in the conference, right? Texas Tech is under half a game as well. Golly, looking at us, man. We are
it's real bad.
Yeah.
For the season, we have 22 minutes less offensive football than Texas Tech has had.
The last 2 games
they lead the league in passing. They should be the ones with less time of possession.
Yeah.
Last week destroyed us.
The last 2 games of third down conversions have killed us. They just killed any sort of time of possession that you've ever had. You're just dead. You're dead in that regard.
To that point, they're they haven't been uber successful holding on to the ball either. Maybe we can turn the page on that, get out to a big lead, and hold on to it this time.
The captains for this game, by the way, I meant to say that CJ Colden, Trey Morrison, Jake McCoy, Jordan Kelly, Theo Weiss, and Eric Gray. Those are your captains for the final regular season game of the Oklahoma Sooners 2022 season. Wow, that's weird to say. Can't believe we're.
I'm kind of ready. Like, just let it go. Like, just
man,
I'm ready for next year.
I'm never ready for seasons to end, but I'm ready to stop seeing this team struggle to find an identity. Yeah. And I'm ready for whatever's next, because they'll be closer to that identity than they are right now. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm most ready for.
There was, and I know we'll get into this later on over the next couple of weeks, but there was predictions on like bowls and stuff like that. And most people are saying we're probably going to go to the Texas Bowl. I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but Mark, back to what you were saying down in Houston. I don't know if this was off mic. Maybe we were just talking on Friday or something, but the Houston game, it might be the Texas Bowl. Who knows?
Though? Oh yeah. Also, that's the prevailing prediction among most analysts right now, right? And see y'all there. We've got. Well, I'm not going to announce that, but I'll talk to y'all offline. We'll talk about it.
I had program guy Connor Borland tell me, already trying to make plans. It's like, yo, if we're going to Texas Bowl, we're going.
We're going, right?
Bro, I got to, you know what I mean?
Kind of got to.
Yeah, boots on the ground, literally. I'll have boots on because I'll be in Texas.
Man, program guys meet up. Might have to do it to him.
Devin might have to do it to him. Get sponsored by the Texas Bowl.
Let's win this game.
What the one thing we're looking for before we move on, and then we'll give a couple of score predictions. One thing I'm looking for is once again just going to be pressure, because I've said it the last 2 weeks, and last week we saw how important pressure was to disrupting anything OSU wanted to do offensively. If you do that again, you can win this game, and you can win it comfortably. So that's what I'm going with.
Mine is going to be third down conversions. We are 3-25, I think, on third down conversions over the last 2 games. We need to be better.
37-35 is my final score, by the way.
Oh, my final score is going to be
OU.
28-21. Yeah, OU.
For those of you so inclined, that 37-35 is the over, by the way. 64.
And it's OU pushing.
Which
is fun.
Yeah, it's OU pushing.
So the one thing that I'm going to be looking for, and I didn't really hit on it with the offense, but there was a Brent quote during the press conference today about loyalty from guys who might opt out of bowl games. And he might as well have been speaking directly to Eric Gray and Marvin Mims on offense. I think those guys are as good as gone when we do play in the Texas Bowl. Just, realities of the situation, right? I want to see how these guys come out to this weekend, right? I want to see those two sort of lead the offense in what might be their last showing in that jersey. That would be a very fun way to send those guys out if, in fact, they do decide to preserve their bodies for the future. So that's my one big thing, is 2 big guys on offense. As for a score prediction, I am going to give you 34-17. Bang. OU, I think we really, 31-17. That feels better. That feels better. But I do think we score, Let's stick with 31-17. Right, it's hard, man. It's because does the offense actually do it? Like, that's the thing.
That's the question.
I think the defense unlocked something last week, but does the offense actually have it?
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see. Be sure to comment down below. Let us know what you are looking for in the game this weekend. Yes, Mark.
Your one big thing. That's all. Let us know your one big thing.
Let us know your one big thing as well. I need to scroll through our YouTube and find our commenter of the week. You guys want to fill time for me real quick? Because unless you have one ready,
I don't. So let's run through the college football rankings real fast, maybe.
Let's do it.
So they actually came through this evening. We go 1 Georgia. That's, obviously, right? 2 Ohio State, 3 Michigan. That means we're getting a 2-3 matchup this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. Ohio State favored by 7.5 in that one. That's a good time.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. TCU is bringing up the 4 spot, the Oklahoma spot, as we often call it, while LSU is at 5 and USC is coming on up at 6. So, past that, we can go into all the teams. I think the first Big 12 team to show up is
K-State.
Where's K-State? 12. Yes. No, wait. I mean, like after TCU, right?
Yeah.
The creme de la creme of this year. So anything stand out to you, Ryan?
I mean, I've said this so many times. I am so fascinated to see what happens with LSU and Georgia. Like, if LSU somehow beats Georgia in that championship game, I know they have another week to get through. And I actually don't know who. I think LSU's playing A&M, so I'm not really worried about that. And then, when they go into that championship, if somehow LSU can pull that off, I mean, you put them both in, right? And then you obviously have Big Ten, right? And then you're like, okay, well, now we have TCU and USC, and you would think you would take TCU if they're undefeated.
You would. You absolutely would. The Big 12 has been stronger, I think, than the Pac-12 has been this year.
I think you would have to. I mean, we'll talk about this next week, but I'm a firm believer that TCU is going to lose to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. I just think it's going to happen. I think their time is coming, and I've been saying that all year. But I'm just interested to see how this all shakes out. I think Georgia's locked pretty much.
Yeah.
I think they're good to go. Ohio State, Michigan, whoever wins this, as long as they don't screw up in the Big Ten championship.
And they won't.
I don't think they will.
West is a big joke.
Yeah. So I mean, we got 2 locks for sure.
Yeah.
And
all
then
right,
there we'll see.
Our commenter of the week is Corrections 101. Subscriber Corrections 101. He said in our post-game pod, commented down below, he said, Farouk and so many receivers drop too many passes, put right on the money. Not saying Dylan Gabriel was great, but when he puts it on the money, we can't have receivers dropping the ball with the gloves they have. Great point, Corrections 101. Thank you for being a loyal subscriber. We hit 1,200 subs, by the way. We hit
Bang! We did it.
Thank you, guys.
In the future, I don't know about picking commenters to just echo points we made earlier. But anyway.
I mean, once again, but if you come to the
point.
table with a commenter ready, then I don't have to scroll through and look.
Hey, you're right. You're right. And it is a great point. I'm not taking anything away from the point. One thing I want to point out again with these playoff rankings is everyone needs to once again steel themselves for the inevitable. Lincoln Riley's team makes the playoff and his quarterback is a Heisman candidate because it happened this week. You kind of saw the buzz around USC rise a little bit, and they are only playing teams that statistically are worse than them the rest of the way. Personally, I love Notre Dame this weekend. But
it's going to be fun.
But if they can pull off this game and Pac-12 championship, I have almost no doubt they're going to find a way to put them in. And he's going to be in New York lifting a trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I find it hysterical. Did you watch them play UCLA? Well, I mean, we were together, so we kind of watched the end of it.
It's like it's the exact same team.
It's the same
thing.
OU
is.
And I've seen this story. I know what happens. They're going to put USC in. They're going to play Georgia. They're going to score 40-something points, but their defense can't stop anyone, and Georgia's going to score 45, and Georgia's going to win.
I don't think Georgia will let 45 points up on that defense, on their defense.
Yeah, and that offensive line that looks awesome and is winning all these awards every week in the Pac-12 is going to get rocked by the second wave of first round picks that Georgia's defensive line has. That line is legit going to be Georgia by 13 and a half, 14 points, and it's going to get bet up from there.
See, and again, we've made
Caleb Williams is the only thing.
I mean,
they have great playmakers, but dang,
we've made this point before. It's just so crazy how much a superstar like Heisman winning quarterback makes up for so much of what your team lacks. It's amazing to see. And there was a play, the UCLA receiver was running for the end zone. Literally, no one was around him. And then instead of trying to tackle him, they tried to strip and punch the ball out instead of tackling him. And he dragged a dude like 15 yards to the end zone and scored. That's what Alex Grinch does. That's the defense that he coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they necessarily care about like keeping points off the board, if that makes sense. They care about turnovers so they can get it back to their offense. But like, they know their offense is going to be better than probably any offense on the field, right? And that's exactly the way we felt for years because we had these star QBs, right?
You're absolutely right.
End well.
It never does.
In most cases. In every case that we've had. It doesn't end well.
It never ever does. I'm trying to find our pick'em page and I can't find it.
I actually have it up. I also listed some key games on the outline if you want to look at that.
I saw that. Yes. I wanted to give an update on our standings. Can you give it
on the standings? Hold on. Can
I? While Mark's looking for that, some big news in college football.
I sure can.
Lane Kiffin was reported to be the next man to be the head coach at Auburn. Reporter
said he'd step down on Friday.
Yeah,
to take that job.
And a reporter at a TV station in where I don't know where in Starkville. He was in Starkville.
Yeah.
And the reporter said what Mark just said, and Lane essentially responded and mocked him, saying that the reporter was actually going to step down from the job he had and move to a rival TV station across town. And just in the Lane Kiffin way. So I don't know. Like,
Lane might be going to Auburn.
Yeah.
The key thing to watch out there is this year hasn't gone beautifully for Jeff Lebby at Oklahoma, and he has experience with with Lane Kiffin. So hopefully that's not a concern with everything that they're building here, but just one thing to watch out for.
You want to update our pick and page?
Yeah. So
hold on one second about the Lane Kiffin thing. It's got really, really strong. I am not going to be the head coach at LSU energy that came last year.
Yep.
With Lincoln. So I don't know. I think if someone got a hold of something, there's a good chance it could be true. Who knows?
Or it's gonna be somewhere else, right?
It's
maybe it's not this, but it's
things are swirling. If somebody at a news station got a hold of it and got a chance to run the story, there is something out there. Now, will it come to fruition? I don't know.
Me neither. Anyway,
I have no idea.
Pick'em page. Number one, you know him, you love him. Frat Loops. He has held the lead or been second all year long. He is not letting go. Number two, we've got M. Morris 94. Number three, tied with myself, we've got Norman OK Landfill.
Love that.
That's something.
Love that.
That's someone. And number five, program gal Becca. We really love Becca. So.
That way, Becca. That way, Becca.
Proud of you, Becca. Sorry about your Vols.
Yeah. Oh man, the Vols thing is kind of tough. She is dominating Patrick. That's so fun.
That's great.
That's a fun time.
Everyone's dominating Ryan because he doesn't do it ever.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you.
What a teammate.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. Let's make some picks. What do you say?
Bang.
Massive. Probably argue it is the biggest game of the weekend. It is. It's the game. It's Michigan plus 7.5 at Ohio State. Game is in Columbus. It's the game. It's the biggest game of the year. Decides who's going to the Big Ten championship. Decides who's still alive in the college football playoff. Michigan losing their running back is bad news for me. because that Ohio State offense is going to score some damn points, man. And I don't know, man. I got Ohio State minus 7.5, and I think Ohio State wins this game. I don't think Michigan can score with them, man. I just don't think they can. And don't get me wrong, Michigan's defense is good, but even if you're scoring, even if you hold Ohio State to say 35 or 31, I don't know if Michigan can score 17 points. You know what I mean? I just don't know if they can.
Yeah.
So give me Ohio State minus 7.5.
To be clear, Blake Corum, the running back that Mason is mentioning, he hasn't yet been ruled out, but you would think if he plays, he's not going to be at full strength, right? Regardless, Ohio State minus 7.5. I'm taking that. I understand that half point is where they're going to get me, but it's sort of like, hitting a 15. You just have to do it sometimes. So, yeah, 7.5. CJ Stroud.
Reference.
Yeah, it was. It was. CJ Stroud, that bevy of receiving talent, Trevion Henderson, they're just going to overpower Michigan, and I got Ohio State.
Love it. Right?
Yeah, so I watched both these teams last week and was not impressed with either of them. But I think they were probably just, like we kind of said, expecting this game and had all like their mental energy on this game that was coming up.
Definitely a look ahead.
Yeah. I think the big thing here is it's in the shoe. And I can't bet against Ohio State with that offense. I know Michigan is good. I know they have a lot of talent, but like, I don't know, man. I just think that Ohio State offense is too explosive and they're going to put up too many points. So I have give me Ohio State to cover.
Okay. Next game we're going to talk about Iowa State, 10.5 point underdog at TCU. There's no way TCU is not covering. TCU is going to blow them out of the water. They have everything in front of them to play for. They're going to go out and they're going to beat Iowa State by a lot. I think they win by 20. So give me TCU to cover.
Agreed. I think they've rounded into their best possible form, and we're going to see more of it this week.
I am going the opposite way.
Okay.
Not just for content's sake. So the last, I'm just looking at this statistically, out of their last hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of their last 7 games, they won 6 of them by less than 1 possession or less than 1 touchdown. So 7 points or fewer. I still think this Iowa State defense is good. I still think it's a very solid defense. I do not think Iowa State is going to win this game, but I do think that they will cover. And TCU will win by less than 10.5.
I'd feel worse about my TCU pick if it was 11 a.m. in Ames, but it's not. So that's why I feel good about TCU. And they have everything in front of them. They know what they have to do. They literally cannot lose. They cannot.
Why they might slip up.
Nah,
like they have their Big 12 championship on their mind right in front of them. They win that game. They go to the playoff. Like they're not even thinking about Iowa State being at the bottom of the barrel in the Big 12, right? Like they're like, oh, this is a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And it might be. It might turn into a cakewalk. But I just think sometimes you underestimate a team. And TCU, yes, they deserve number 4. They are undefeated, all of those things. But they remind me of the Vikings in the NFL. And we saw how the Vikings turned out this past weekend. When you just win 1 possession games, eventually you slip up.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's going to be this week, but I think it's going to be in the next 2.
Perfect. Next game we're going to talk about LSU, 9.5 point favorite at Texas A&M. Give me LSU. Texas A&M is a dead program. Not really, but they're dead this year. And I can't wait for 15,000 people to see LSU stomp on their throat. And Jimbo Fisher just looked confused as to why people don't like him. So give me LSU minus 9.5. LSU wins. They're going to the SEC title game.
LSU.
Yep. A&M's broken. LSU by 9.5. Everyone flips from A&M. Nobody likes them anymore. We get so many transfers also. And
everyone's happy.
That's how the story goes.
That's the completely unbiased program guys take, by the way. That's why you come
Straight
here.
shooters at the program, guys.
Yeah, that's why you come here for this content. Next game, Notre Dame plus 4.5 at USC. I'm picking Notre Dame just because I freaking need it. I need Notre Dame to win this game. I don't want to. My dad had a really funny point. He asked me how bad OU fans were going to freak out if USC gets in the playoff and Caleb Williams wins a Heisman. What would they freak out over more? USC getting in or Caleb winning a Heisman? And I was like, I don't think people are going to be mad about Caleb winning a Heisman because you know he's good enough to do it. Like you wanted him here. Yeah. But they'll definitely be upset if USC's in a playoff. That's not something OU fans want to see. And I definitely don't want to see it. So please, Notre Dame, win this game. Notre Dame plus 4.5. I think they get the outright win.
Yeah, the thing about Caleb, it's like, yeah, when he wins the Heisman or even when he leads them to a national championship, it's going to be like, yeah, he's the guy. Mm-hmm. We knew he was the guy. No one
was like, get out of here. No one wanted him to leave.
Like he wasn't even looking at us and we were begging. So no, it's not about Caleb. Yeah, it's definitely, I hate USC. hate him. That said, I don't think 4.5 is really enough. I think this line should probably be more like 6.5, 7. So I'm going to take USC for the purpose of the pick'em and just hope that I'm wrong on this one, right?
Yeah.
Hope that they get stomped and they drop 8 every time and Caleb just looks confused.
Right.
Yeah. I actually think Notre Dame's been playing really well recently. They've had like a resurgence since losing to Stanford earlier in the year. That is a tough loss. You want to talk about a tough loss?
That's a bad team.
That's a really tough loss.
You lost West Virginia though, so what do you mean?
Yeah, well, the the Clemson victory that they had, and they look good. And I think USC is a one-trick pony, and that pony is Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams is absolutely incredible and can win any game that you start him in. Like, I truly believe that. He's that good. If he slips up at all, USC is going to lose. And
Caleb had to play out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
To beat UCLA
out of his
by
mind.
one possession.
Out of his mind. Yeah. He had to play out of his mind. And like, I think Notre Dame is the team to shake them up because I don't really see Oregon doing it in the Big 12 or the Pac-12 championship if that's who they're going to play, depending on the Washington situation. Mm-hmm. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with this team because Notre Dame is kind of a wild card to me. They can be good enough to beat a Clemson, who is still a very good team, and I think they're good enough to beat this USC team if the cards fall right. So. Yeah. Just for me hating USC, I'm gonna pick Notre Dame.
Awesome. Last game, real quick. Kansas plus 12.5 at Kansas State. Battle for the Sunflower State. Give me KU to cover. I don't think they win, but I think they cover. 12.5 is a big number, and I think KU is better than what their record indicates they are. I think they fell on some hard times during the season, but give me Kansas to cover plus 12.5.
I believe I saw it said today that Adrian Martinez would not be playing. To me, that makes Kansas State's offense a little bit more dangerous because it's more varied with Will Howard under center. I like K-State in this spot, looking ahead to the Big 12 championship next week, honing their offense, honing their defense, getting right against a, hometown rival that isn't very good. Historically, they're good this year, I guess.
Yeah. Give me Kansas State. I think they announced that this game was sold out like 3 weeks ago. It's gonna be popping in Manhattan. They're getting ready for the Big 12 championship. And I think a key point here is unlike TCU, they don't have the pressure of not messing up, right? Like I guess if they lose tomorrow or lose Saturday and Texas wins, then I don't know if Texas goes. I don't know how the math adds up there. But you know, like I think this Kansas State team is really good. Like really, really good. And I think they
beat
have
the
their
best team in the Big 12, Oklahoma. So.
I don't know about that, but they're going to want their revenge against TCU, right? And I think in-state rivals, they're at home. I don't know. Give me Kansas State 12.5. It's a really large number, but I think they have everything going for them right now, and they're really motivated to win this game by a lot.
Awesome. Be sure to make your picks on our picking page if you are part of that. We only got one more week left, and then maybe they do some bowl picks. I don't really know. We'll figure it out. Let's move on to our PGP MVP of the week. Round out the show. Mark, we'll start with you, brother.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I usually don't think about them too much in advance. And yet, here I am on the spot. My MVP of the week is the perfect man at tight end for the Falcons who gave up his leg, spraining his MCL. And we'll go to the IR for 4 weeks. Kyle Pitts. Hopefully, while he's gone, they will figure a way to get him the football in ways that won't end up with him spraining his MCL. Kyle Pitts, my MVP.
Love you, Kyle Pitts. Ryan?
Yeah, so this might be a controversial choice, but I think I have to give my MVP to Caleb Williams this week.
Oh God.
Because look, I know everyone's like, ew, gross. Like we said, I don't blame Caleb for this whole thing with USC. That game that he put on against UCLA was absolutely insane. And the amount of talent that guy has is so crazy. And he can just he can win a game by himself. Like I said this earlier, he can win a game by himself. And he showed that. And I never want USC to be successful, but I want Caleb Williams to be successful. And so that's my MVP this week.
I really hated that.
Really. I mean, that was did Matt Gann show up for the end of this? Or?
I channeled some Gann in there.
Oh,
God, that was just.
He won't hear that reference, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he literally won't. My MVP of the week is England, the football team, because they're going to win that group because
easy.
US put up no fight against Wales. Drew against Wales 1-1.
Yes.
And USA plays England on Friday. They're going to get curb stomped. And then USA's got to play Iran and hopefully win by 5 goals or else they're dead. So England, my MVP of the week because they beat Iran 6-2.
Can I have a second MVP really quickly because you reminded me of the World Cup? I'm sorry. I'm screwing this whole thing up.
All right.
Saudi Arabia beat Argentina this morning. That's awesome.
We are not going to put Saudi Arabia.
Not the fact
not
the fact that it's Saudi Arabia. Just the fact that the World Cup, you are able to beat a powerhouse in the group. It feels fun. It just feels fun. That's all. Maybe upsets in the World Cup. That's
Mason's point about England being his MVP. The United States on Friday is a plus 487 underdog, right? Plus 487 underdog. England is favored by 172 on the money line. I remember similar odds in 1776.
Jesus.
And I remember a certain set of boys rocking the Star Spangled, overcoming those odds.
Did you watch Monday's game, Mark?
Give me America.
Did you watch Monday's game?
Erroneous. Erroneous on both counts. Oh my gosh.
Give me America every time. All right. I am Apollo Creed coming out in Rocky IV. I don't know why you guys are being Avan Drago. Give me America.
All right. Thank you, Mark. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Episode number 46 is a wrap. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Next step, 1,300 subscribers. Help us get there, folks. Press that subscribe button down below. All you got to do. It's free. Helps us more than you know. Appreciate you. Follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram Program Guys with a Z. However you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. That's where you can find us. That's going to do it for this week's show. We'll have a post game for you this weekend after the Texas Tech game. So we'll see you then. Ryan, take us out.
Keep pushing, baby.